Okay, here we go. This is going to be a bonus video on gifted statistics. So key point 3, we've already gone over 1 and 2 on the previous video. The adjectives involved in the description of gifted and talented students are also important to clarify. So the only number that the Texas Education Agency gives us to pin down data that describes high performance, capability, unusual, and excels comes from funding. And what it says is for up to 5% of a district's students in average daily attendance, or ADA, a district will receive an allotment equal to the basic allotment multiplied by 0.07 or 7%. So in other words, Texas supports GT services for around 7% of the student population. All right, and to elaborate on that and maybe confuse it a little bit, the National Association for Gifted Children, or the NAGC, states that 68% of students score near the mean. Students far from the mean require different educational experiences to develop optimally. So if you can picture the traditional bell curve there, the mean's in the middle, 68% of students score around that mean, and those students are typically fine in the general ed classroom without any interventions or extensions, differentiation, that kind of thing. So if 68% of kids will thrive in the general education classroom, that leaves about 32%, right? 100 minus 68, 32. Hope I got that right. Who will struggle at varying degrees. So this means that there are around 16%, again, half of that 32 that's left, of students on either side of the learning spectrum who will struggle in their own way. So the further you go from the mean, of course, the greater the need for interventions to support learning to help a student reach their full potential. And GT, just like special ed, is on a spectrum. You're going to see kids with varying needs of supports to meet their full potential. Texas provides funding for about 7% of the population. The National Association for Gifted Children describes the 16% of outliers on the right of the bell curve as follows. So if you'll see that table there. Bright students make up about 13.59% of the student population. These students may benefit from some differentiation and extension. The next 2.14% are at the gifted learner level. They will benefit from differentiation, extension, and/or acceleration. So I should emphasize they will benefit. There's not a lot of arguing that they'll benefit from that differentiation, extension, or acceleration. Next, there is a very small percentage, 0.13%, of highly gifted learners, and they will not thrive without interventions that may include differentiation, extension, and/or acceleration. And finally, you have a very small group of outliers, 0.003% of a population, who are profoundly or severely gifted. These students require strong interventions, including grade level acceleration, to thrive. Because of the ability to learn being a complex spectrum, the line that defines gifted and talented is difficult to assign a number to. In most cases, if fewer than 5% of a population is identified as gifted, this is seen as an under-identification. On the other hand, if we have over 10% of a population identified as gifted, it becomes increasingly likely that we are over-identifying, or in other words, we have students who are receiving services that are inappropriate for their learning needs. All right.